For thousands of years, the story of Atlantis has captured human imagination. First mentioned by the philosopher Plato, Atlantis was described as a mighty civilization that disappeared in a single catastrophic event. Yet Atlantis may not be the only city lost to time. Around the world, ancient ruins continue to challenge everything we think we know about early civilizations. From vast underground cities to enormous stone structures whose construction still puzzles engineers, these forgotten places share one powerful mystery: they were all abandoned. In this documentary, we explore the legends and the archaeological discoveries behind these lost cities. Some may exist only in myth, while others have been rediscovered beneath sand, jungle, or sea. Together, they reveal how much of human history remains hidden. The primary source of the Atlantis story comes from Plato's dialogues, Timaeus and Critias, written around 360 BC. In these texts, Plato describes a powerful island empire that existed thousands of years before ancient Greece.
According to Plato, Atlantis was located beyond the Pillars of Hercules, known today as the Strait of Gibraltar. The island was rich in natural resources and home to an advanced society skilled in agriculture, engineering, and warfare.
Plato described the capital of Atlantis as an architectural marvel. The city was built in concentric circles of land and water, forming a sophisticated defensive system. At its center stood a grand temple dedicated to Poseidon, the god of the sea. Inside the temple stood a massive golden statue of Poseidon, riding a chariot pulled by winged horses. The city's walls were constructed using white, red, and black stone, reinforced with metals such as bronze and the mysterious material known as orichalcum. For many generations, Atlantis flourished under laws designed to maintain balance and justice. Its society was said to be orderly and prosperous. But over time, ambition replaced wisdom. The Atlanteans grew greedy and began seeking power beyond their island. Their military campaigns expanded across distant lands.
According to Plato, their attempt to conquer Athens failed. This defeat marked the turning point in their fate. The gods, angered by their arrogance, unleashed earthquakes and floods. In a single catastrophic day and night, Atlantis vanished beneath the sea. Plato's story continues to raise an important question. Was Atlantis real, or was it a symbolic lesson? Many scholars believe Plato used the tale to warn against corruption and unchecked ambition. Others argue that the detailed descriptions of Atlantis, its geography, political system, and architecture suggest that the account may have been inspired by real events. Plato claimed Atlantis disappeared 9,000 years before the time of Solon, the Athenian statesman of the 6th century BC. This timeline places its destruction around 11,600 years ago, a period marked by dramatic climate shifts at the end of the last ice age. Plato wrote that Solon learned about Atlantis during a visit to Egypt. Priests in the city of Sais were said to have preserved ancient records describing a conflict between early Athens and Atlantis. Many ancient cultures share stories of a catastrophic flood that destroyed entire civilizations. Similar myths appear in Mesopotamian, Indian, and other early traditions. Geologically, this era corresponds to a period known as the Younger Dryas, a sudden return to cold conditions beginning around 12,800 years ago. Some researchers suggest shifts in ocean currents or volcanic activity caused this cooling. Others support the Younger Dryas impact hypothesis, which proposes that a comet struck Earth, triggering environmental chaos. Around 11,600 years ago, temperatures rose again. Massive ice sheets melted rapidly, causing sea levels to rise and submerge coastal settlements. Flood narratives appear in many traditions. The biblical story of Noah, the Mesopotamian epic of Gilgamesh, and the Hindu concept of pralaya all describe worlds destroyed by water.
Though these stories come from different cultures, their similarities are striking. Some researchers believe they may preserve distant memories of the same ancient catastrophe. Modern archaeology has discovered submerged structures in various regions of the world. While some formations are natural, others appear to show signs of human construction. One well-known example is the Bimini Road, discovered in 1968 near the Bahamas, a formation that continues to fuel debate about whether it is natural rock or the remains of an ancient structure. This underwater formation is made up of massive, flat stone slabs arranged in a straight line. Because of their organized appearance, some believe they could be remnants of an ancient road or wall. Supporters of the man-made theory argue that the stones appear too evenly placed to be accidental. Their alignment seems intentional rather than random. Geologists, however, offer a different explanation. Most classify the Bimini Road as beach rock, a natural limestone formation shaped by waves, currents, and erosioners over thousands of years. Studies show that the stones formed in shallow coastal waters and gradually cracked into rectangular shapes. Core samples indicate natural layering consistent with geological processes. No tools, carvings, or artifacts have been found in the surrounding area. Without physical evidence of human activity, the natural explanation remains the most widely accepted. Yet Bimini is not the only submerged site that sparks debate. Off the coast of modern India lies another mysterious location, the ancient city of Dwarka. According to Hindu tradition, Dwarka was ruled by Krishna and described as a magnificent city with strong defenses and grand architecture. Ancient texts claim it was eventually swallowed by the sea. For centuries, the story was considered myth. But in 2001, marine archaeologists discovered submerged ruins near the present-day coastline. Divers identified stone walls, pillars, and structural foundations resembling descriptions found in ancient scriptures. Some of these remains were dated to over 9,000 years old, placing them among the earliest known submerged settlements in the world. These discoveries have led some researchers to question whether early human societies were more advanced than previously believed. Rising sea levels at the end of the Ice Age may have submerged many coastal communities. Areas that once supported settlements are now hidden beneath the ocean. The Younger Dryas period brought sudden climate shifts and rapid glacial melting, likely disrupting early human societies. While evidence of advanced pre-Ice Age civilizations remains debated, some scholars suggest that survivors adapted and rebuilt in new regions. One site that has reshaped our understanding of early civilization is Göbekli Tepe in southeastern Turkey. The location was first noted in the 1960s, when large stone pillars were seen protruding from the ground. At the time, it was believed to be an old cemetery. In 1994, German archaeologist Klaus Schmidt began systematic excavations. What he uncovered would challenge long-standing assumptions about early human societies. Göbekli Tepe reveals a construction effort that seems impossible for its time. Massive limestone pillars rise from the ground, some taller than 5 meters and weighing over 20 tons. These towering stones were arranged in carefully designed circular enclosures, suggesting deliberate planning rather than random placement. At the heart of each circle stand two larger T-shaped monoliths, dominating the space like silent guardians of a forgotten age. The surfaces of these pillars are covered with detailed carvings, predators, birds, serpents, along with symbols that researchers still struggle to interpret. The craftsmanship is remarkable. The depth and precision of the reliefs suggest skilled artisans working with clear intention. Yet there are no houses, no kitchens, no signs of ordinary daily life. This absence has led experts to believe the site functioned as a ceremonial gathering place, perhaps humanity's earliest known temple complex. Scientific dating methods place its origins around 9,600 BC, at the dawn of the Neolithic era. That makes Göbekli Tepe over 12,000 years old, far older than Stonehenge, and long before the rise of Mesopotamian cities. Its existence challenges a fundamental assumption about human progress. For decades, scholars believed agriculture gave birth to civilization. First farming, then permanent settlements, then monuments. Göbekli Tepe suggests the opposite may have happened. Monumental construction might have come first. Some researchers argue that the need to gather large groups to build and maintain such a site
may have encouraged the development of organized food production. If that is true, belief and ritual may have shaped civilization before agriculture did. Perhaps the most puzzling detail is that the entire site was intentionally buried thousands of years after it was built. The builders filled the enclosures with earth and debris, sealing their creation beneath the soil, as if preserving it for the future. To conceal the structures, thousands of tons of soil and rubble were deliberately piled over the site. This enormous effort protected the stone circles, allowing them to survive untouched for thousands of years. Yet the true reason for burying the complex is still unknown. Some researchers believe the builders intentionally sealed the site to preserve it. Others argue it may have been abandoned after major cultural or religious changes. In more speculative discussions, some historians have drawn comparisons between Göbekli Tepe and the legendary city of Atlantis. The story of Atlantis was recorded by the Greek philosopher Plato, who described a powerful civilization destroyed by a catastrophic flood. Interestingly, Plato placed the destruction of Atlantis roughly around the same distant era in which Göbekli Tepe was built. Because of this timeline, some researchers have suggested a more radical possibility. They speculate that survivors of an unknown Ice Age civilization might have migrated to new regions after a global catastrophe. These migrants could have carried fragments of advanced knowledge into places like Anatolia and the Near East. Some historians have also proposed possible links between this hypothetical lost culture and the rise of ancient Egypt. According to this theory, if a civilization like Atlantis once existed, its survivors may have spread their knowledge across the ancient world. Egypt, one of the earliest advanced societies in recorded history, may have preserved fragments of that knowledge. Supporters of this idea often point to Egyptian achievements in architecture, astronomy, and complex religious symbolism. Ancient Egyptian writings even mention a mysterious era before the rule of the first pharaohs. Ancient Egyptian records speak of mysterious rulers known as the Shemsu Hor, translated as the followers of Horus. According to traditional accounts, these figures were said to have governed Egypt long before the era of the pharaohs. Some ancient sources even describe them as semi-divine beings who arrived from a distant land. Legends claim they ruled for thousands of years before the rise of dynastic Egypt. A number of researchers interpret these stories as a possible memory of an earlier lost civilization. If true, such a civilization might have influenced the development of ancient Egyptian culture and knowledge. One of the most controversial discussions related to this idea involves the Great Sphinx of Giza. Mainstream archaeology dates the monument to around 2500 BC, during the reign of Pharaoh Khafre. However, some researchers argue that the erosion patterns on the Sphinx tell a different story. Geologist Robert Schoch suggests that the deep weathering marks were likely caused by long periods of heavy rainfall. The problem is that Egypt has not experienced such rainfall since the end of the last Ice Age. If that interpretation is correct, the Sphinx could be far older than conventional timelines suggest. Another argument often mentioned in these discussions involves the layout of the Giza pyramids. The three largest pyramids, Khufu, Khafre and Menkaure, appear to form a pattern. Some researchers believe this pattern resembles the three bright stars that form Orion's belt. This idea became widely known as the Orion correlation theory. The theory was popularized in the 1990s by researcher Robert Bauval. Bauval proposed that the pyramids were intentionally positioned to match the alignment of Orion's belt in the ancient sky. He suggested that this alignment would have matched the stars' positions around 10,500 BC. In Egyptian mythology, Orion was associated with the god Osiris, the ruler of the afterlife. Ancient texts suggest that pharaohs believed their souls would join Osiris among the stars after death. Supporters of the theory believe the pyramids were aligned with Orion to symbolize this cosmic journey. It would connect the tombs of the pharaohs directly with the heavens. Beyond symbolism, the pyramids themselves display an astonishing level of precision in their construction. The Great Pyramid of Giza is oriented with extraordinary precision toward the four cardinal directions. Its alignment deviates by less than 0.05 degrees,
a level of accuracy that still impresses modern engineers. What makes this even more remarkable is that the structure was built thousands of years ago without modern surveying tools. Because of this, researchers continue to study how ancient builders achieved such precision. Some scholars wonder whether the Egyptians developed these engineering methods entirely on their own. Others speculate that fragments of knowledge may have been inherited from an earlier civilization now lost to history. Mainstream archaeology credits these accomplishments to the ingenuity and skill of ancient Egyptian builders. Still, discussions about possible earlier influences continue among historians and researchers. For some theorists, Egypt's geographic position has fueled additional speculation. According to this hypothesis, survivors of Atlantis might have traveled to other lands after a catastrophic flood. If such migrations occurred, these groups could have carried knowledge of architecture, astronomy, and engineering. Supporters of the idea suggest that fragments of this knowledge might have influenced early Egyptian civilization. While Atlantis remains the most famous lost city in legend, other discoveries offer real evidence of ancient human innovation. Archaeological sites around the world reveal how past civilizations adapted to their environments and built remarkable structures. Many of these constructions challenge traditional ideas about what ancient societies were capable of achieving. One of the most remarkable examples lies beneath the surface of modern-day Turkey. Hidden deep underground is the vast subterranean city known as Derinkuyu. Whether Atlantis was real or only a legend, discoveries like Göbekli Tepe, Dwarka, and Derinkuyu remind us that humanity's past is far more complex than we once believed. And somewhere beneath the oceans, deserts, or layers of time, the greatest secrets of our ancient world may still be waiting to be discovered.